All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I remember back in 1998, the Denver Broncos, led by John Elway, Shannon Sharpe, and Terrell Davis, were looking to repeat. They had just won the Super Bowl the year before by defeating the Green Bay Packers, led by Brett Favre. It was a rather surprising upset. The Broncos were the sentimental favorite because John Elway, who had played about 15 or 16 years in the NFL, had never won a Super Bowl. He had been to, I believe, 3 Super Bowls before that one. He played the Giants, the Redskins, and the 49ers. Yeah, he'd been to 3 Super Bowls before that 4th Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers. He'd never won. He was viewed as an all-time great. And he pretty much was a sentimental favorite. Even though Green Bay was the champion from the year before, they had defeated the New England Patriots. And Brett Favre was viewed as being the best player in the NFL. Not just the best quarterback, but the best player in the NFL. So, of course, the Denver Broncos were victorious. The next season, they were trying to repeat. And pretty much over the course of the regular season, everybody pretty much thought, who followed the NFL week by week, that eventually the Denver Broncos would meet up with the Minnesota Vikings in a titanic matchup in the Super Bowl. Because on the Broncos side, they had a 2,000-yard rusher in Terrell Davis. On the Minnesota Vikings side, they had Randall Cunningham, who was the NFL MVP. They had the legendary wide receiver Cris Carter, who now currently is a football and basketball analyst on Fox Sports 1. They had probably the most freakishly athletically gifted wide receiver of all time in Randy Moss. And the Vikings ended that season with an exemplary record of 15-1. So we pretty much all thought, okay, the Broncos are going to end up playing the Minnesota Vikings in the Super Bowl. Well, there was another team that had other plans, that being the Atlanta Falcons, who went 14-2. They were led by a standout running back by the name of Jamal Anderson. And eventually the Falcons met up with the Vikings in the NFC Championship game. They were victorious in Minnesota, and the Falcons faced off against the Broncos in the Super Bowl to see who was going to win and be declared the NFL's champions. Well, the Broncos won, and thereafter the Falcons were pretty much never the same. Jamal Anderson had a meteoric rise, and as meteoric as his rise was, so was his fall. Why am I saying all this? Because in the aftermath of his rise to prominence and his fall from grace, he's pretty much had a fall in his real life as well. Many of you brothers might know that he's had a series of drug issues as well as alcohol problems. And for those of you who have a King James 1611 Bible that has an apocrypha in it, the book of Ecclesiasticus in chapter 31 verse 25 states, "Show not thy valiantness in wine, for wine hath destroyed many." I've grown up with so many dudes that ended up having drinking problems, man. And wine is cool in moderation. When you read Ecclesiasticus chapter 31, it even goes on to tell you that, because it brings a cheerfulness, it brings a joy in heart, meaning of your mind. But everything has to be done in moderation. And it's very obvious that Mr. Jamal Anderson has a substance abuse issue, which normally is a cover for other mental problems. Maybe paranoid schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or trauma from his childhood, who knows? But he certainly has issues. And he's pretty much about to hit rock bottom, as they're about to cover here. That's why the name of this series is going to be Black Man Don't Self-Destruct Volume 1. And this is going to be an ongoing series. Why is that? Because a lot of brothers start to tiptoe towards self-destruction for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of something that they place as an idol. Or maybe they had visions for themselves that they were never able to attain to. And they start to embrace substance abuse, whether it be drugs or alcohol. And that shit ain't the way, man. It's not the way. But anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. I've been here with Van Lathan.
What up?
Uncle J. Bab. It's so nice having both you guys here today.
Van and Mike and Van.
I did a dynamite job holding down the fort, by the way, while you were gone, Van.
He did. He's good at his job.
It
was tiring, though, so I'm glad Van's back.
Yeah, it was great. Anyway, so
talk more.
Look, we got an interesting video over the weekend. It's of Jamal Anderson, one of our favorite players. He was a superstar running back in the NFL for a while. He was, of course, a Pro Bowler, was in the Super Bowl. And
he was the workhorse and the offensive linchpin of a team.
He ran so hard. His thighs were so big.
Pause. Why the hell are you talking about another man's thighs like that for? Let me say this, though, in all seriousness. I remember it was relatively soon after the 1999 season that Jamal Anderson started to get in trouble. And for those of you brothers that know his background, I believe, if I remember correctly, and if I'm wrong about this, one of you brothers please correct me, his father was a member of the Nation of Islam, and his father was a bodyguard for Muhammad Ali back in the 1970s, if I remember correctly.
Created the Dirty Bird dance.
Yeah, it was
he
him,
created
man.
that. He made it famous.
It was a moment in NFL history, without a doubt.
He has wrestled with substance abuse issues since he has stopped playing football, and
that's because he got caught up in the professional sports world. A lot of these professional athletes, they fall into a life of decadence, meaning eventual decay. They embrace the whores and the drugs and the alcohol, the fast life. They think that shit is going to last forever. They start to really believe their own press clippings, as they used to say back in the day. They really do. And they become traumatized when that all gets taken away so quickly. I think he had a knee injury. Did he have a knee injury? One of you brothers, please correct me on this, because a lot of this stuff is foggy right now. It happened like almost 20 years ago. But I saw this story, and I know so many cats. Like I used to know a cat back in the day, and brothers who know me who are on this channel, you might remember back in the day, we'd have certain high holy days, and there was always a certain brother who would become falling down drunk, man. And we'd have to carry this dude out of the function, like literally carry his ass out of the function. And I remember one time we were carrying him down a flight of steps, and he woke up and started kicking and flailing. And this dude fell down the steps. And he was never the same after that, man. I'll never forget that. That wine and that liquor, that hard drink, it can be as toxic and as potent as any drug. So please, if you're going to indulge, we all have to indulge in moderation, every last one of us. You know, we get together with our friends or our family for a festivity or what have you. We have a good time. Sometimes we might have one drink too many. But part of responsibility is to know how you're going to get home safe, how you're going to arrive there safe, in case you start drinking before you got there, so on and so forth. But in the case of Mr. Jamal Anderson, it's very obvious that he's hiding other forms of trauma from earlier on in his life, which eventually will probably come out.
Again, on December 23rd, he was arrested at a gas station outside of Atlanta, and the cops say he was so...
The brother still looks relatively healthy, so that's good. Maybe whatever drugs he used to use, he no longer is using, because he got to be around 45 years old. I mean, how old is Jamal Anderson right now? Because he was playing back in the late 90s. So we're talking about a 20-year stretch. So he got to be around 43, maybe 44 years old. So, I mean, at least he looks relatively healthy, even though his eyes look bugged out because he's drunk.
So drunk that when they asked him for his identification, he tried to hand them a box of cigarettes and also a bag of chips.
Damn, what the fuck was he drinking? Moonshine? God damn. They asked him for a license, and he tried to hand him a bag of chips? Good Lord. The hell was he drinking? Turpentine?
And he tried to pass it off as his ID. It was messed up. So we're going to show you the video, but it's not to shame Jamal Anderson, because Jamal,
well, you know what? Sometimes we have to be shamed. We've all done things in life that that we know, you know what? I have to learn from this and move on and become a better person.
You worked with him. I mean, he used to write a blog for TMZ a while back.
Yeah, about Game of Thrones.
Likes him.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. Talk to him all the time.
I'm serious when I say that. Like, I hope he sees this video, and I hope that somebody close to him sees this video, and we can figure out a way to get to Jamal Anderson and get him some help. And I will say that I have reached out to him personally. I haven't heard back from him. I hit him up on his cell, but here's the video.
Of course you haven't heard back from him. That man heard his cell phone ring. He went to go pick up his wallet. He's like, hello? Stop crank calling me. Slam his wallet down.
Of cops trying to talk to Jamal Anderson, who, when this video starts, cops are talking to him because he refused to pay the limo driver who picked him up earlier this evening. And then when cops get to him, here they are.
Well, hey, look at it like this. He's falling down drunk. At least he got a limo driver.
Here they are. Here's the interaction with Jamal Anderson.
You have your driver's license with you? You have your driver's license. Your driver's license.
Right here. And my ass cracked. Come on, man. It's obvious the man is drunk. Just put the cuffs on him and take his ass to jail.
Oh, the cigarette.
Yeah, it goes that way for several minutes. They eventually arrested him for public intoxication. They took him to a nearby station. Look, Jamal Anderson needs help.
And he needed this too. Because if he's at the point that he gets so inebriated that he's not paying the taxi drivers or the Uber drivers or the limo drivers, whoever it was who was chauffeuring him around, if he's not willing to reimburse them for what they've done, that means that he could potentially become belligerent. And it's better that he get caught right now before he gets caught up in any type of altercation where it could become even worse.
Needs help. I don't know any other way to say it. He needs help. If you know Jamal Anderson, if you know anybody close to him, someone's got to get this guy some help.
Yeah, not the first time that he's had a little trouble at the gas station. A couple of years ago, I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, he was intoxicated and got a little bit more serious situation at a gas station when he was alleged to have done something that was some time ago. Here,
DUI in 2012,
DUI in
2009. I mean, it's been problem after problem for him.
Okay, so it was cocaine back in 2009, so I knew that he had an issue with that as well.
Very, very tough to watch, man.
I'll tell you something. When he used to write the Game of Thrones blog with TMZ, he is a very smart guy. He is thoughtful. He's an interesting dude. And he was a nice guy. He was always very respectful, like super nice guy. I really enjoyed him. And I hope that somebody close to him can finally get this guy the help that he needs, because if he keeps going down this path, it's not going to end well.
Look, like I stated, I make videos like this as an end sample for things that regular brothers are going through. Everybody's not going to have the leeway of a Jamal Anderson. But, you know, we can't just start to immerse ourselves in the substance abuse whenever we're trying to avoid the real problem. A lot of cats have real problems out here, but drugs and alcohol are certainly not going to solve the problem. All they're going to do is numb the problem. And there's something going on with Jamal Anderson that maybe he's not at the point where he wants to talk about it. I thought I remembered that it might have been stated back in the day that he has some type of psychological issue. I can't remember, so don't quote me on it. If I'm wrong about that, one of you brothers can correct me. But either way, a lot of cats are going through a lot of things right now. And that's why it's so important for the so-called black man to be there as a guide for his child, to protect his child. Look, man, ain't none of us perfect. We're not going to be there for everything. But a lot of things that adults are going through right now is based off of neglect from when they were children. And I'm not even saying that that's necessarily what happened to Jamal Anderson, but so many people try to cover up their hardships with drugs and alcohol. But you know what? This will be an ongoing series. Hopefully, Jamal Anderson will receive the help that he needs. So peace.